Do you find yourself struggling with stress and anxiety? AKA, are you alive during the pandemic? Well, stick around for 2 quick tips to help get your life a little bit more manageable. I would like to start with a skill, which is actually a theory. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. It is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this dude, Maslow, came up with this theory, which actually hasn't been scientifically investigated because it's really difficult to investigate, but it sounds pretty believable, so we'll go with it. Anyway, so Maslow's hierarchy includes this nice little pyramid of needs, 5 levels. There's a physiological level, safety, security level, a kind of friend, social level, esteem, self-esteem level, and a self-actualization level where we basically become the best human beings we were ever meant to be. Before we move on to looking at how well we're meeting those basic needs, I want to take a look at each one of those levels and remember that for each one of those levels, there's even little tiers underneath that. Like, if I'm just getting enough food and enough water and enough sleep and shelter, then yeah, sure, I could take a look at other areas to help me get to that self-actualization stage. But I may need to improve a little bit more in what I'm feeding myself, or how much water I'm drinking, or how well I am sleeping. Also, in terms of the security and safety, I may need to bulk up on my financial safety. I may need to look at how safe do I feel with my career in this pandemic, or how safe do I feel with my job or lack of job in this pandemic? How safe do I feel about unemployment and whether or not that's going to cover me during this time period? How safe do I feel? Right? Also, how safe do I feel with my health? Is it a good choice to go out with or without a mask? Who should I see? What about my mental health? Is that in a good tippy-top shape? Am I doing what I can for my body? Am I making sure that I exercise? Am I making sure that I spend time outside, even if it is cold? And how long should I do that for? Each one of these tiers that Maslow points out has a deeper we can go down a deeper rabbit hole in figuring out how well we are meeting those needs and whether or not we need to crush meeting those needs in order to get to manage our stress a little bit better, or if we can kind of move on to a different area and that would give us more payback or a better return on investment of our time and energy and resources so that we can focus on what we really want to. First, let's take a look at physiological needs. So that's like your physical body. Are you getting enough food, water, and sleep are kind of the big basics. Also, shelter, is it acceptable? Beyond that, we can look at how good maybe your food is. Are you eating enough, or are you eating too much? Does your food have some variety? Does it include veggies, fruits, proteins, carbs, all of those, but not too much of each one? Is it kind of high quality or low quality food? You can really take a look at where you're at there. Water, are you drinking enough water? Do you have fresh water available to you? Are you just drinking the minimum amount, or are you drinking enough where you kind of have to go pee every 2.5 hours? I feel like being really hydrated is more like I gotta go pee multiple times throughout the day. It's really annoying, but I'm super hydrated and therefore I'm more capable of reaching that self-actualization, top of the pyramid magic, according to Maslow. Sleep can be a really tricky one. Do you get enough sleep? And that could be 6 hours and it could be 10 hours, depending on how old you are, what you're doing today or what you did yesterday, or just your own circadian rhythm. I'm sure it has to do with all sorts of different factors. Everybody has a different magic number of sleep that they need in order to feel well rested, and I have no idea what it is for you, but does it feel good for you? Do you feel like you are well rested? Do you go to sleep pretty easily? Do you have trouble staying asleep? Do you have trouble waking up in the middle of the night? And if you're having trouble with any of those sleep issues, it might be a good time to chat with a doctor or some other human that you trust to kind of help you with your sleep hygiene routine. And then in terms of shelter, do you have a form of shelter that works for you? Are you warm enough or cool enough? Like I had to switch my jacket up to come outside to give you guys a different view for today's video. Is it windy where your shelter is? Do you have trouble with hair getting in your face while you're filming? Is your home or shelter meeting pretty low level amounts of needs, or is it incredibly amazing and comfortable? Like, is it really noisy, or does something smell funky, or is it incredibly full and disorganized? Your physical environment shapes you. And I know that you are an amazing person and that you shape your physical environment too, but it's definitely a factor to consider, especially when we're starting to feel overwhelmed with stress or anxiety or pandemic fatigue or life fatigue. So if we start to take a look at that second tier about safety and security, there's a few things that could come up for you. Like if you're in a domestic violence situation or something is incredibly physically unsafe, I actually feel like that might fall under those shelter needs. But if something like that is happening in your life, please seek some additional services. I'm going to throw the domestic violence hotline down. Their number, I'll put it in the description and also pop it in right here. But otherwise, what safety and security is talking about, do you feel generally safe? Do you feel like financially you're in a good place? Do you feel like your health is in a good place? That's kind of what Maslow was looking at when he kind of put this theory together. So all we can do is attempt to increase our safety so that we have a little bit more resources in order to put those towards what is causing that stress or anxiety that we're feeling right now. The second skill I want to talk about and maybe remind you of is a grounding skill. It's a practice in mindfulness that kind of helps you get more present in the moment. That sun is incredibly bright. Anyways, maybe I'm lit really well. How's it going? So we're gonna review grounding, and there's two forms that I'd like to talk about. Grounding in terms of a physical grounding and grounding in terms of a cognitive grounding. So first, if we take a look at physical grounding, oftentimes a practice to physically ground yourself might be to actually take your shoes off and really feel the earth or the vinyl or the hardwood underneath your feet, and just kind of notice what your toes feel, what the balls of your feet feel, maybe just how your feet are feeling as well. So taking that physical connection to the ground and really noticing it, that will absolutely bring you into a more present situation. If perhaps that is not an option available to you, you can also, while sitting or standing, you can, in your shoes or sandals, maybe move your toe across that sole of your shoe and just feel that different texture, bringing you back to that present moment. In terms of a more cognitive grounding technique, I sometimes like to look at So in terms of a more cognitive-based grounding or mindfulness technique, we want to distract our mind by directly noticing things. For example, using our five senses to identify what's up, what's going on in the world. It's called a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, where you notice 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can feel, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. That can definitely distract you. If maybe you're seeing a friend start to panic, or somebody else knows you well and they want to be able to help you out when you are feeling a little stressed or anxious, you can try this other technique out where you practice naming things in a category. Like, for example, hey, why don't you name 5 of your favorite foods or 5 of your favorite sports teams? And just getting that kind of cognitive distraction and asking someone to start naming those things will help calm them. If you're trying to form a support system to help keep you in a better space, you can maybe ask those people to try and distract you with presenting you with some categories to name so that they can kind of help you distract your mind so you can get a little bit more grounded in that moment. I really appreciate you all. I hope you have a lovely week. Really, the sun's just in my eyes and I can't see. Thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you're curious to learn more. If this content adds value to your life, click the bell to get a notification whenever I upload new videos. Until next time, live intentionally, love fiercely, and lead courageously.